In a world where most interactions happen through screens, it's more important than ever to understand the nature of the people who cross our paths. Today, we dive into the complexities of human behavior to uncover the subtle signs of potentially dangerous individuals. These aren't always the obvious threats we might expect, lurking in dark corners or shadowy figures in the distance. Often, the danger lies in plain sight, within the people you least suspect. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that teaches resilience, mindfulness, and inner peace, urges us to become keen observers of human behavior. The Stoics didn't just encourage us to look at the surface. They taught us to see beyond appearances, to understand the motives and actions of those around us, both for judgment and protection. Knowledge, they believed, is not only power, it's a shield crafted not from fear but from wisdom and discernment. When we arm ourselves with these insights, we don't just protect our peace, we safeguard our lives. So let's explore the 10 key traits of potentially dangerous individuals who may be lurking in our everyday lives. Understanding these traits doesn't just make you aware of danger, it makes you empowered to protect yourself and stay centered. In a world where people's intentions are not always clear, imagine someone who always seems to have the right words at the right time. At first, they might offer small favors or seem helpful, but soon, you realize that their intentions go beyond simple kindness. They bend your will, subtly guiding you toward decisions that serve their needs, not yours. They use flattery, guilt, or obligation to make you feel like you owe them, slowly eroding your ability to make independent choices. Stoicism teaches us the power of our own minds, the capacity to choose our responses instead of reacting impulsively. When faced with manipulation, a Stoic would recommend stepping back and gaining a moment of detachment. By doing this, we can see the manipulative tactics for what they are: external attempts to influence our internal decisions. It's not about dismissing our emotions, but understanding them as signals rather than commands. When we can pause, reflect, and regain control of our own judgments, we cut the strings that manipulators pull on, reclaiming our autonomy. Now, picture a situation where someone consistently pulls at your heartstrings. Maybe it's a friend who always seems to have a sob story when they need a favor, or a partner who manipulates your emotions by overplaying their disappointments when you set boundaries. This is emotional manipulation, a subtle, sophisticated form of control, where your feelings become the strings of a puppet master. The Stoic approach to emotional manipulation is grounded in inner peace and clarity. Stoicism encourages us to separate our internal world from external influences, which is crucial when dealing with emotional manipulation. By asking ourselves, is this guilt or sympathy coming from within me, or has it been planted by someone else? We can start to dismantle the manipulator's hold. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about mastering them. When you understand your emotions, you prevent others from using them to control your actions. This ability to detach and reflect allows you to maintain healthy, genuine relationships based on mutual respect, not emotional debt. Consider a person who gradually pushes you away from your support network. Perhaps it's a partner who suggests that your friends don't really understand you the way they do, or a family member who subtly criticizes the people you're closest to, planting seeds of doubt. The tactic is usually disguised as concern or love, making it difficult to recognize and confront. Stoicism teaches that community is a vital part of human well-being. It's not about being isolated, but about choosing who we surround ourselves with, those who support and enrich our lives. Isolation tactics threaten our judgment by distancing us from the relationships that reflect our values. The Stoic response? Be wary of anyone who pressures you to distance yourself from those who care for you. Instead, the Stoic would advise you to strengthen and nurture your support network, trusting your judgment and the value of those relationships. By doing so, you not only resist attempts at manipulation, but reaffirm your commitment to living a life aligned with your principles. Now imagine dealing with someone whose actions don't match their words. One moment they're kind and supportive, the next they're distant or dismissive without any clear reason. This inconsistency creates confusion and instability, often designed to keep you on edge. It's like walking on shifting sand, never knowing what to expect. The Stoics, in contrast, sought to live with internal consistency. Their words, thoughts, and actions were all aligned, creating a sense of integrity. When faced with inconsistent behavior, a Stoic would pause to reflect, not react. They would assess whether these discrepancies are simple, human flaws, or signs of deeper manipulation. Rather than allowing someone else's unpredictability to unsettle them, the Stoic would remain grounded in their own values and principles, understanding that inconsistency in others often reflects a lack of integrity. In today's digital world, it's easy to become disconnected from ourselves and those around us. Technology makes it easy to hide behind screens and personas, but true connection requires understanding the deeper layers of human behavior. By applying the lessons of Stoicism, we can sharpen our ability to see through manipulation, emotional control, and other subtle tactics that may pose a threat to our well-being. It's not about living in fear or suspicion, but about living with the awareness and discernment that allow us to protect ourselves from potential harm. By cultivating the Stoic virtues of wisdom, courage, and self-discipline, we empower ourselves to make better choices, foster genuine relationships, and live a life aligned with our true values, free from the influence of others' harmful tactics. The core principle here is staying true to your values, no matter the external pressures. It's about holding firm to your inner compass, especially when faced with the inconsistency of others. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our actions, our responses, while understanding that we can't control how others behave. For example, when someone acts inconsistently or manipulatively, it's a sign that we don't need to engage in the games they're playing. Instead, we have the power to decide how we react, whether we choose to set boundaries, address the behavior directly, or step away from the situation entirely. Inconsistent behavior is often a warning sign that deserves attention. By applying Stoic wisdom, we can maintain clarity and emotional balance, ensuring our decisions protect our peace of mind and align with our values of honesty and integrity. No matter the external chaos, we can remain centered by sticking to our principles. Narcissism is often misunderstood as just excessive self-love, but it's much deeper. It's a psychological trait where someone sees their own needs and perspectives as overwhelmingly more important than those of others. A narcissist might seem to have an insatiable need for admiration and attention, constantly talking about their own achievements, desires, or problems, while rarely acknowledging anyone else's unless it serves their agenda. Stoicism offers a powerful antidote to narcissism. Instead of being swept up in their self-centered world, Stoicism teaches us to focus on virtues like wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. True self-esteem, according to Stoics, doesn't come from the validation of others, but from living in accordance with moral principles. When dealing with a narcissist, Stoicism encourages us to protect our integrity by setting boundaries, recognizing their behavior as a mask for insecurity, and refusing to engage in their emotional manipulation. Dealing with a narcissist doesn't mean punishing them or distancing ourselves out of spite. It's about safeguarding our own well-being and emotional health. It's important to understand that their behavior stems from deep insecurity, but this doesn't mean we have to tolerate harmful actions. Stoicism teaches us to focus on how we respond, without getting caught up in the emotional chaos they create. We don't need to change them. We only need to control how we engage with them. By adhering to our values and maintaining our inner peace, we can navigate these relationships more effectively, without losing ourselves in the process. Aggression goes beyond personality clashes. It can be a serious threat to our well-being. Whether verbal or physical, aggression is a destructive force that can make any interaction feel like walking on eggshells. Someone who uses anger as a weapon might raise their voice, interrupt, or even intimidate with physical force to assert dominance. This kind of behavior can leave us on edge, uncertain of what will trigger their anger next. From a Stoic perspective, aggression is a failure to control one's emotions. True strength, Stoics believe, lies in self-control and rational thinking, not in overpowering others. Marcus Aurelius, a great Stoic leader, once said, "The best revenge is not to become like the aggressor." In dealing with aggression, Stoicism teaches us to maintain our composure and respond with reason rather than impulsive reaction. Stoicism also doesn't advocate passively accepting harm. If verbal aggression is at play, a Stoic might choose to disengage, avoiding escalation. In more dangerous situations, such as physical aggression, Stoicism emphasizes making calculated decisions to protect ourselves, possibly seeking help or removing ourselves from the situation. Stoicism teaches us that aggression often stems from deep insecurity or fear. By understanding this, we can respond with empathy, not anger. We don't justify the aggression, but we can view the aggressor with compassion, recognizing that they are struggling to manage their own emotions. Dealing with aggression requires a blend of empathy, strategic disengagement, and firm boundary setting. By applying Stoic principles, we can protect our peace, respond with clarity, and create a space for more rational and respectful interactions. A victim mentality can be one of the most manipulative behaviors we encounter. It's not just about seeking sympathy, it's a strategic way to avoid responsibility, shifting blame onto others to make them appear as the wronged party. Someone with a victim mentality might consistently portray themselves as the perpetual victim, deflecting any personal accountability, making it difficult to address their behavior without seeming like the aggressor. Stoicism teaches that our suffering doesn't come from external events, but from our interpretation of those events. This mindset helps us see that the victim mentality often stems from an inability to take responsibility for one's actions. By understanding this, we can approach the situation with empathy, but not enable or tolerate this behavior. A Stoic approach would involve offering support while still holding the person accountable, encouraging them to see things objectively and embrace constructive feedback. The Stoic belief in truth and honesty plays a crucial role here. When interacting with someone who has a victim mentality, we must remain firm in our own convictions, ensuring our actions align with our values. We can empathize without allowing their narrative to distort our reality, maintaining our mental peace by not getting caught up in their manipulative story. A Stoic approach reminds us that our worth comes from living true to our principles, not from how others treat us or view us. By practicing these Stoic principles, we can maintain a clear, compassionate perspective, guiding others out of the victim mindset and helping them embrace personal accountability. In turn, we protect our own emotional well-being and continue to live in alignment with our core values. In life, finding the right balance between compassion and detachment is essential. It allows us to offer support without getting caught up in emotional turmoil, fostering a healthier dynamic that encourages both personal responsibility and growth. This principle is key not only for our well-being, but also for those around us. Have you ever encountered someone who constantly believes they are smarter, better, or more important than others? This superiority complex creates division, erodes meaningful relationships, and makes genuine connection nearly impossible. People with this mindset often expect special treatment, reacting with frustration or indignation when they don't receive the deference they believe they deserve. However, true wisdom teaches us that real superiority isn't found in status, wealth, or intelligence, it's found in virtue. Those who embrace humility understand that every person has something valuable to offer. A wise individual recognizes that life is a continuous learning process, and arrogance is often a reflection of one's own insecurities. When faced with someone exhibiting a superiority complex, the best approach is to remain composed and not engage in power struggles. Their need to assert dominance often stems from their own inner turmoil. Instead of feeding into it, responding with calmness and self-assurance can sometimes encourage a more balanced dynamic. The true measure of a person isn't in their self-proclaimed importance, but in their ability to uplift and learn from those around them. We've all encountered individuals who seem consumed by jealousy, constantly comparing themselves to others, downplaying others' achievements, or even sabotaging those they envy. Jealousy and envy don't just damage relationships, they eat away at a person's own inner peace. But the truth is, comparison is a losing game. If our happiness is dependent on what others have, we will always feel lacking. Instead, the key to fulfillment lies in appreciating what we already possess and focusing on our own growth. When dealing with someone who is envious, we must understand that their negativity often stems from their own dissatisfaction with life. Rather than reacting with frustration, responding with kindness and confidence in our own journey can shift the energy of the interaction. We don't have to engage in toxic competition. When we focus on personal excellence rather than comparison, we free ourselves from the constraints of jealousy. Imagine someone who lacks empathy, who dismisses emotions, ignores the struggles of others, and sees life purely through the lens of their own needs. This mindset doesn't just damage relationships, it isolates the individual, making true connection impossible. Contrary to common belief, emotional strength isn't about being detached or indifferent. It's about understanding emotions without letting them control us. True wisdom teaches that our lives are interconnected, and our ability to support and uplift others strengthens the very fabric of our own existence. When faced with someone who lacks empathy, the best response is to lead by example. Demonstrating patience, understanding, and active listening can sometimes inspire a shift in perspective. While we can't force others to change, we can embody the values that create a more compassionate and connected world. At the end of the day, the challenges we face, whether it's dealing with arrogance, jealousy, or a lack of empathy in others, are opportunities for growth. Our strength isn't measured by avoiding difficulties, but by how we respond to them. By focusing on our own virtues, practicing humility, and cultivating inner peace, we not only transform ourselves, but also create a ripple effect that inspires those around us. The question is, will you allow negativity to shape you, or will you rise above and embody the best version of yourself? The choice is yours.